Namaste Bharat. I am Srimati Duvuri Vatsalendra, Senior Lawyer, High Court of Telangana. In the earlier video, I have told you about the Family Court establishment and the Family Court Act. Now, let me start with the Hindu Marriage Act. Now, the Hindu Marriage Act has various aspects to be interpreted, wherein the disputes between family court, the family is the functioning of the head of the family and various branches of Hindu schools, which establish how and where the disputes have to be approached. As I told you earlier, once a matter is referred to the family courts deal with it in accordance, as I said, reconciliation and various aspects. Now, there are various subjects discussed in the Hindu Marriage Act, like the voidable marriages, and diverse on various aspects, cruelty, desertion, and mental and physical harassment. All this come under the diverse forms in the Hindu Marriage Act. Now, when I discuss about diverse, when you have allegation and averment of cruelty, cruelty is in various forms. It could be physical, it could be mental, or it could be in any which form which is shown in the form of verbal or physical attack or mental damage. Mostly we see that cases which are filed for divorce involved in physical cruelty, majority, and mental cruelty in the form of abuse, and so much so threatening in the form of language used that one of the party is affected and they undergo mental trauma and become imbalanced and depressed, and sometimes their life is so affected that they even lose their mental balance. In most of the cases, the mental cruelty cannot be proved. However, the acts, the kind of language used can come to a certain determination and evaluation of the damage done to the party. Now, and when there is no such mental or physical cruelty, no person can approach the courts of law trying to create some sort of form only to get away with the harassment by each other. Now, harassment again can be discussed in various forms. A person who doesn't look after the spouse or neglects him or her by various acts, like the wife not providing food or behaving in a very rude manner and not letting the husband have conjugal happiness, also involves in cruelty. Now, cruelty in most of the cases is misinterpreted that only physical abuse and physical damage or causing hurt or beating up involves in cruelty. I have to very clearly tell you that this is not so. Even neglecting each other in the form of uh, conjugal rights, or trying to throw away a person from not leading a good family life, or neglecting a person to an extent that the day to day life is not provided or neglected, all come under cruelty. Now, as I said, mental cruelty is different from physical cruelty. and also the circumstances under which a person lives, like either of the spouses not providing a person or curtailing the one of the spouse to 4 squares of the wall. There have been many cases where I have witnessed that the husbands are so suspicious that they do not want the wife to go out of the house or even go out of particular room. They want to close the doors, windows, and keep them as a prisoner, which is also cruelty. Under all these circumstances, the remedies available for all the parties is divorce or judicial separation. I'm talking about divorce as of now. I will talk about judicial separation later when it is established and there is lots of documents in the form of uh, these days emails, messages, and even any surrounding person, like your neighbor must have observed that the husband has beaten up the spouse so badly that she got injured. In such circumstances, even their statement helps to establish that the person has been physically abused by the spouse. Most of the cases, the neighbors do not come to give the evidence. As such, the data, secured, like pictures, the photographs when the abuse has taken, the browses or etc., even the formal police complaint to be lodged that such abuse has taken place, or to inform to the local police, or immediately record the statement and take a video of yourself so that you maintain certain record that you have been physically abused. Mental abuse is the stress and everything going on because of the acts of the person, where a medical assistance or the medical report helps to establish the case that the person has been mentally abused. Now, there are cases where there are physical and mental abuse coupled together, and these two things really are so clearly established that the courts come to a conclusion that there is sufficient evidence to prove that a person has been abused physically and mentally. There are certain cases where even I have seen that the spouses usually have caused cigarette burns and beating up and other things, you know, which cause physical abuse of a spouse. These are easily established. In majority of the cases, whether it is physical or mental, because the spouses do not maintain any record, these things cannot be proved. As such, it's very difficult. But since now the media has given the internet, the instant recording gives lots of help for a person to prove that such harassment has taken place. So I hope everybody understand that when there is a physical abuse, mental abuse, denial of conjugal life, abuse of language, neglecting of a person of food and proper shelter, putting a person to a scary scenario where he or she cannot live with constant suspicion by either of the spouses also attracts cruelty, under which both of them can approach courts of law for a decree of divorce. I'll come back with what is voidable marriages, and how they have to be proved in the courts of law. I hope I made the point understandable and easy for everybody to interpret, and how to go by for divorce and its proceedings, which I also dislike that amicable life and happy lives are better than disputes in the family. Henceforth, I request everybody to live a happy life instead of disputes, and do not have too much of threat and fear in an institution of family life and marital life. Namaste.